Hello and welcome to Bristol Reptile Emporium's YouTube channel. I'm Gail.
And I'm Michelle.
And today we are going to do a product review, and that is going to be on Pangea. So Michelle, first of all, what is Pangea?
So Pangea is a complete food that we use for certain gecko species, things like crested geckos.
Okay, and is any other reptile eat it or just crested geckos?
There's a few different species of geckos that we can introduce it to, and it can be used with some other lizards as well. So we introduce it to things like gargoyle geckos, Leachianus, possibly some day geckos. I'm not saying that this is a solely complete food for every species, but it's just something we can add for a bit of variety.
And what is the Pangea actually made of? What does it consist of?
So there's two different types. Luckily I'm holding the one type, which is primarily fruit based. There are other nutrients contents in it, which is what makes it a complete diet. So it means that we don't have to add anything additionally to it, but these are heavily based around fruit. In comparison to what Gail has in her hand here, these have got a higher protein level, and these protein levels are based around insects. So there is still a fruit element to it, but there's also incorporated insects into it as well.
Okay. So I guess there's quite a high nutritional value within the Pangea for the animals to eat?
Yes, so the ones with the fruit base are more of a maintenance based diet, so they're designed to maintain your animal at its adult state of life, whereas the ones with the protein, the higher protein levels are great for growth, and also when we've got an animal that's using nutrients for breeding, so obviously it's a little bit more of a physical drain on their reserves, so that that extra protein level can help maintain their weight levels and things like this.
Okay. I guess the animals, the reptiles actually like it?
Yes, so obviously Pangea is not the only type of complete gecko diet that's available on the market. There are loads of different types, and I mean loads. But the good thing about Pangea is most of the gecko species tend to like them. You may have an individual who's quite keen on a particular flavour, because like us, you know, we all have our own likes and dislikes. But generally they will eat them across the board, and we can mix flavours as well. So if you've only got an animal that really likes apricot, you can mix it in with the breeder diet if it has laid some eggs, or if it's a bit behind on its growth level, and we can increase that protein level but still have the flavour that it likes.
Okay. So how often do you feed your reptiles on Pangea?
So really the amount that we feed is going to vary depending on the life stage that the animal's at, and obviously body condition of the animal as well. So an animal that's in maintenance mode, so it's done all its growth and we're just feeding to maintain body condition, we may feed a little less frequently than an animal that is still growing and needs to obviously develop with that growth. So in some cases it may be every other day, it may be daily if an animal is underweight, and it may also be a little bit more spread out than that. So it really does vary on the individual animal. It also varies depending on the appetite of the animal as well, because some animals will just eat and eat and eat like there's no tomorrow. You know, they love their food and they're really happy to eat whatever we give them, which is fantastic. However, it means we have to be careful that we don't overfeed, and some animals are a bit shy, so we need to encourage them to feed a little bit more. So that means making sure that there's plenty of food available for them in different positions within the enclosures, and just giving them the best opportunity to come in contact with that food. So there's no real, it will definitely be this much that you feed. We're just taking into account each individual animal.
Okay, and as it's in a packet and it feels quite soft, I guess you have to make it up?
Yes, you do. So it is a dry compound at the moment. Obviously you can have a feel. If you were to pick a packet up in store, you can feel that it's quite dry. So we hydrate it with water, and we're mixing it about 1 part powder to 2 parts water, and you want the consistency of about ketchup. And we've got a little example of what we're going to show you as to how to make it, and I'm going to show you the end result, which is just this one here. So this is the breeder mix, which is the one that Gail's holding here. So each of the mixes is a slightly different colour because of the ingredients that it contains. And this one does thicken up quite nicely. So if you make it and you think it's a bit runny, give it a little chance to thicken up, because as I say, it doesn't stay exactly the same when you mix it up the first time.
Right, okay. And if an animal doesn't eat everything that's in there, what would you do with the leftovers?
So this is a great way of passing nutrients onto your live food. Now, obviously, some cresties don't like live food. You know, we can't force them to eat everything. It's like kids. You're probably not going to get them to eat their veg, but you'll have a go at it anyway. You know, that's the good part of being, you know, of providing a balanced diet. So cresties do need a small amount of live food in their diet, and if you've got extra Pangea left over from when you've mixed it up and fed your gecko, you can put it in with your live food to help pass that nutrients on to your gecko eventually through gut loading. The other thing that you can do is if you make too much, especially if you're new to keeping these types of animals and making these diets up, first time you'll probably make shed loads and you'll end up with it and think I've got it coming out my ears here. Right, so you can pop it in the fridge, and then you can use it, I believe it's up to about 7 days after it's been made from the fridge. But if you pop it in the heat of the enclosure, it will only be good for about overnight basically, and then you need to remove it in the morning. Because it changes consistency, and obviously after that point the animal's very unlikely to eat it. So if you think you've got too much, decant a bit out and put that in with your animal and put the rest in the fridge, and then you've got some later on for in the week.
Great. And as you can see, we've got a few different packet sizes here. Is there any difference between them other than size?
I mean, it's just mass. Obviously, you know, cost-wise does vary a little bit between the two. So if you've got a large number of animals, it can be more cost effective. Sorry, I've just spit in my words here. It can be more cost effective to use to buy the larger sizes, but if you've only got a low number of animals, just bear in mind that they do have a use by date on them, so you don't want to have them forever, obviously, because the nutrients content will drop as the product ages in storage.
Thank you for watching Bristol Reptile Emporium's YouTube channel.
Don't forget to subscribe, and we look forward to seeing you next week for another video. Bye!
Bye!